Jazeera, Tunis.
Well, William Lawrence is a professor at Georgetown, Washington University's Elliott School of International Affairs. He's joining us from Washington, D.C. now. Very good to have you with us on Al Jazeera. What would be the motives behind an attack like this on civilians in a tourist spot and a museum that housed history?
Well, it's clearly that it's an attack, first of all, on tourists, on foreigners visiting the country, and any security forces that were defending them. There was a lot of speculation today about whether or not it was an attack on Parliament, and there is apparently a back passageway from the museum into the Parliament area. But I really believe this was first and foremost an attack on foreigners. It was a soft target. It wasn't very well guarded by the Tunisians, who had built up more around the government sites because they were suspecting this type of attack. So it was a soft target, and they killed as many foreigners as they could. And this, of course, as your setup piece said, touches on the economic vitality of Tunisia.
Well, we've heard repeatedly about how unprecedented an attack this was, but given the instability in the region, should Tunisia have been expecting an attack like this? Have they focused too much on securing government and military targets and not enough on places like this museum? Or is it that this has just come so unexpectedly?
Well, they probably have. I mean, there was a major attack against tourists in 2002, so they've had this experience before, but it's been a long while. You may remember in 2012, the U.S. Embassy was attacked in Tunisia, which wasn't well guarded at the time, and if you're not protecting embassies, what are you protecting? So certainly Tunisia was expecting an attack. I'm not sure if they were expecting an attack on a tourist site, because this isn't very common, although there had been some incidents in the last 2 years where there were attempts to attack tourist sites that were foiled. There was one suicide bomber who just blew up himself. So there'd been attacks, but this is relatively new in Tunisia, and we're seeing a new rhetoric from the government that we haven't seen before in terms of their anti-terrorism struggle.
And what kind of security measures do you think the government will take following this action, following that rhetoric?
Well, you know, in Egypt several years ago, when they were attacking tourists regularly, tourist buses would have armed convoys. You know, you could have big security perimeters around tourist sites. Tunisia does depend on tourism to some degree, but tourism didn't really recover since the 2011 revolution. But now, with the democratic transition being successful, Tunisia was hoping to reestablish the tourism industry. And so now they probably will make an effort to guard tourists, to secure the sites, to attract tourists back. And I bet this summer will probably be a good place to go. Tunisia will be a good place to go because there will be deals, etc. But today, this isn't really what's on our minds. What's on our minds today is they were victims from 6 countries. My condolences go out to the families. This is a terrible day for Tunisia. And I think, however, Tunisians are going to unite, and they're going to stand against terrorism.
William Lawrence, professor at Georgetown, Washington University's Elliott School of International Affairs, joining us from Washington, D.C. there. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you. Let's move on to some other news now. At least